everybody, and welcome back to our show from This Corner TV. And I'm Marilyn Dayton, your host and producer. And we've got a very, as usual, very good show for you tonight as the rain comes down upon our heads here. I want to remind you that the reason we're here is to not just entertain you, but to talk about topics that both interest you and educate you. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about giving back, which we all should do, and also supporting our nonprofit organizations, as well as helping our young entrepreneurs. So that's our focus for today, and with us, we are so happy to have Anne Garland, the CEO of Anne Garland Enterprises, and also our Managing Director for the Greater Hartford and Shoreline chapter of eWomenNetwork, and you've heard that name before, and Jeanne Boyer-Roy, Director of Client Engagement for Harvest Development Group, and she's on our leadership team at eWomenNetwork. Welcome, both of you, and welcome back.
I know, it's so nice to be back. We had so much fun last time.
Oh, we did. We always have fun.
Yeah.
But before
Today's serious.
Yes. Before we get started, okay, you're looking at three a little bit tired ladies. We have had wonderful, exceptional days. Last night and the night before, we were excellent eWomenNetwork ladies, and we had with us the founder, Sandra Yancey, and she is amazing.
She is amazing.
She is just so amazing. And I mean, we're all still kind of floating on air from having her, because she's just, she's so wonderful.
Well,
so wonderful.
I usually say she's Ohio born, and she's Dallas based, and she's authentic and real, smart.
Smart.
Very smart. And she's a good person to be around.
She is wonderful. What a hugger.
Oh,
She is such a hugger.
among many things.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she was just so open and warm to everybody. Last night, we had a room full of about 150 people. And I'll tell you, it was hopping. That place was...
We
it was
rocked the roof.
Oh, the energy, the high energy, because what you may not know, and I think I've said it before about eWomenNetwork, the thing that I love about this network is it's not just a social club, which is the way a lot of organizations are. What we do is we meet and we help one another, and all of these women are a higher level than you normally get a chance to cross paths with. And it's just so exciting to meet these people and get to know them. And we can't help each other enough. It's just a natural thing that we do. And it becomes like a sisterhood as the relationships develop, but the relationships are strong.
They are. They are.
And these are all businesswomen and entrepreneurs. And they are serious, but fun. So.
And our primary tenet, our principle is give first, share always, and lift as you climb. And
Yes.
so that has been Sandra's always, since she started the organization back in 2000, which is 15 years ago, she always gives back. She just remembers when, and it's very important for her to give back. And she's created several different opportunities to give back through eWomen. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that today, right?
We're going to talk a lot about that
Yeah.
tonight
Right.
because it's really important. I know I shared with you that as a businesswoman and entrepreneur, I've always given back. Even when I started in radio at 12, I was just giving back, although I was a more serious and not as much fun person back then. But I still believed in giving back because it balances you.
Absolutely. Yep.
And the people that do not give back are not as fulfilled, okay? So keep that in mind. And as we're talking here tonight, I want you to think about maybe writing down some ideas about how you can give back some people that you can help, okay? Because these young businesswomen and entrepreneurs are our future. So we have to remember that. They need our help. They need our shared wisdom. They need our support.
Absolutely.
So before we do this, okay, let's get to know our guests a little bit, okay? Now, Annie, you've been on our show before, but I don't mind hearing again who
Okay.
you are and what you do.
Well, I wear several different hats, and I'm very happy to be here and sharing that with you. So I have Anne Garland Enterprises, and what I do with that is I create and produce events for women over 40 who are seeking change, finding purpose, and wanting to move forward. And so take that and marry that with the opportunity with eWomenNetwork, and it's doing what I was doing with Anne Garland Enterprises, but now on steroids.
Gotcha. Good steroids.
Good steroids. And one of the things that is really attracted me to eWomenNetwork is the Giving Back program, their FEMTOR awards, and I did it always when I would do an event for Anne Garland Enterprises, and I do several. I do Women Honoring Women, and I do something called Girls Goals at the Grizz, and there's always a give back. But I couldn't do it at the level of receiving from the community as I can do now with eWomenNetwork. I mean, Sandra has created just such an amazing program. She's got several different areas where we give back, and it fills my heart. And it's got a lot of muscle to it, wouldn't you say, Jeanne?
Absolutely has
Yeah,
muscle.
it
It's
really
a
does.
very disciplined approach, but at the same time, it's thoughtful and meaningful. You know, and it's a nonprofit whose mission is very simply to see to it that women inspire and mentor because of their experience and desire to share.
Yes.
And it really allows for young women to look up and have role models and be successful. It allows for those who are experienced to give back by sharing time and talent and treasure. And it allows the organization, our chapter, to be as supportive as we possibly can in all of those various ways. So it's such a great integration of what it takes for a nonprofit to be successful.
Yeah.
Now, you work with nonprofits
I do.
in your,
I
what
do.
we should say, day job.
Yeah, right, exactly. But one of the things I have to say about being on the leadership team for the chapter is I'm allowed to integrate what I love to do, which is really help nonprofits be successful and support the women in this environment, because women in philanthropy are a whole chapter and subject in and of itself. But that's for a different discussion. But it's something that is very, very interesting, and we should chat about that at some time.
Or later.
Yeah,
later. We'll see.
or later, perhaps. Right, good point. But Harvest Development Group, where I'm the client engagement director, was founded by Sandra Lintelman Della Ripa, right here on the shoreline, Old Saybrook, in 2009. And the organization focuses on creating high-performing philanthropy without feeding your roots, which is our tagline, which really means taking your nonprofit and running it as a business.
Now, what does that, in a little bit more detail, what does that entail? How do you help them?
What we do is we have a process, and our process is focused on root cause analysis, which is why we want to feed the roots. You have to be able to understand what's happening, why you have not been as successful as you'd like to have been, or it's time for transition in leadership, or your programs and services might have met the mark in 2011, but this is 2015, and it might be time to make a series of changes because the environment has changed and the constituents have changed, and the needs of the constituents have changed. So we conduct studies, we scan the environment, we produce recommendations, we synthesize results, we ultimately recommend transformational change, and we train leadership both the staff, executive directors, and of course the governance. We work very closely with the boards.
Well, that's wonderful.
Thank
I
you.
know so many charities and organizations out there that could use a refreshing look. And I will mention you to several
That would be
of them.
awesome. That would be
because
awesome.
I would really, I'm all for these organizations to succeed because there's so many of them. And they all have such wonderful commitment. And, we can't have enough organizations that try to reach out and help businesses and people.
Right.
And but in order to succeed, it has to be well organized. It has to, and have an unbiased expert look.
Right.
Can help.
We
And they listen to you.
We often see how much passion and commitment they have. However, it has to focus on people, process, and program. And those three have to be integrated in such a way that the mission can advance. What business doesn't want to advance?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
that's the difference. That's where we'll work with the organization to help them advance mission based on vision, need, and goal.
Now, a lot of our people that watch, a lot of our audience are involved or aware of an organization. Now, if they needed some help and they were to want to approach their board of directors and their executive staff, paid and or unpaid,
Right.
how would they go about? Would we call you and then you would come in and speak to them?
Right. There's a couple of, depending on where they're located, because we do a lot virtually as well. One of the great things about Harvest is we have a high-tech tool bag. So we can work with, here's an example. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working as an executive coach with the executive director for an Oak and Ivy Museum out of Arkansas.
Wow.
Oak and Ivy?
Oak and Ivy Museum out of Arkansas.
Cool.
And it hasn't been built yet.
Oh.
We're going to be reviewing the capital campaign plan tomorrow via a webinar.
Wow.
Yeah, so one of the services is executive coaching, and we have this tool bag of really sophisticated tools and techniques. And we got to this place ready to do the feasibility prep because she used another high-tech tool, which is called Live Plan, which she created her business plan to create the campaign for this new museum by just completing the template, which is a virtual template where you are actually allowed to complete questions and answers and create the forms. So you do your finance, you do your marketing, you do your human resources, you do your program and service, all through the virtual online system.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, that is amazing.
So it doesn't matter where they're located.
Not at all.
You can still help them.
One of the things that happens typically is that in order to get to the point where the organization is ready to engage us as a service provider, we'll do probably 90 to 2 hours worth of consults, brainstorming, looking over strategic plans and business plans. We ask a lot of questions.
That's a good thing.
Ask a lot of questions. And then at the end of the day, we usually come to some mutual understanding of how best to advance the mission.
Exactly. Okay.
And you wonder why she's our our leader for...
I don't wonder why, but you may have. Now you know.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
she's an
we
expert.
are so honored for her
Oh,
to be our
absolutely.
foundation leader for eWomenNetwork.
And that's what I love about this role, because I get to do
What you do.
what I do, and I'm doing it as a volunteer, and I'm sharing, and I have a vision for where we have to go in the eWomenNetwork, in our own chapter, with the strategy to advance our mission to support the corporate foundation.
I have to share a story with you. When I first met Jeanne, met her at another women's organization, because I'm a serial networker. Everybody
Yes, you
knows
are.
that. I'm
Yes.
a pollinator, serial networker. Anyway, we met at this women's breakfast
Right.
meeting, and there was just some sparkle about Jeanne that I knew. And again, I'm always zeroing in on people and taking them from the sidelines, putting them in the spotlight.
Yes, you are.
But you, I didn't quite understand what Harvest Group was, and I just knew that you and I were going to be working together. And I didn't know how or where or when.
Isn't
And I
that
knew I
interesting?
didn't have the muscle behind me with my company and where I was going. And fast forward, here I am with eWomenNetwork, 10 months. I grabbed you right from the beginning.
And I wasn't really sure what I was getting into.
No, you weren't.
Neither was I. You know, it's a great thing.
It's a wonderful thing.
You had enough faith that you knew it was going to be fun.
I did. I did.
So, and that's what it's all about. When you're doing anything, you've got to really enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I think your audience needs to know that too.
Yes.
That when you're out there and you've committed to, some sort of volunteer program, you got to have fun, right?
Yes.
If you don't have fun, what's the purpose?
Well, the other thing that I have so enjoyed about this experience, I don't know about you, Marilyn, I feel like I've known these women for a long time.
Yes, yes.
But, in reflection and having the guests that I had with me last evening, I said to Lisa, Lisa, I really haven't not been on this leadership team for very long. Only since really like August or maybe September. So it really hasn't been that long in terms of official foundation leader title, so to speak. But yet, being part of the dinner, last evening's experience, emails today shared amongst people,
And Twitter.
and oh yes, and my Twitters. But that to me is what connects and builds long-term relationships.
Absolutely.
That to me is what makes the difference for this particular network.
You're giving me goosebumps.
So am I.
Yeah,
So am I.
yeah,
and,
yeah.
And what I also want to put in here is you're probably wondering, how does the local chapter help contribute to the foundation? And we'll talk about the details of the foundation in a little while. But I would like to put in right here, what is it that we do at our monthly meetings that helps a nonprofit potentially be a part of the foundation?
Well, my vision and my strategy from the day I came on board as managing director was to give back, and we have several programs with eWomenNetwork that we can do that. Sandra Yancey every year in August selects a nonprofit that she wants to give to, and I think we discussed this the last time I was on board, the Bully Suicide Project. And so each chapter is offered an opportunity to give back, and I doubled it and said that we could do it.
We did.
And we did it. And I think we achieved it within 2 months. The
Right.
first
Yes.
It was
first
amazing.
line. And then the other one was the next jump up is the emerging young woman, where we look for a woman in our community in Connecticut, anywhere from the age from 22 to 29, that is giving back to our community in a variety of different ways, either business-wise or giving back to the community by doing some, help me out here,
well,
it could be a variety of different things.
they really could be doing.
I'm sort of stuck on the one that is we've just
Well,
nominated.
we just went through our process.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but it's really an individual who is seen as a rising star.
Yeah.
And they recognize, people acknowledge that that's a future leader for either an industry, a sector, a skill set, an experience that they're building their own business. It's really about the rising star.
Yeah. So we give a certain amount of, we make I think we make like $2,000 or something to give back. And we send them to August to our conference, and they get to experience over 2,000 business women. And and I know you're going. And are you going?
Yes.
Conference in this year?
I wish I could this year, but I'll go next year.
Okay, that's
I
right.
have-
You're doing
I have
another
that-
fundraiser, actually.
I am.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
good though.
it is. It's good, but I want to
Yeah.
go to the conference, but
Well, okay.
next year.
So we do that. And then the other one is, where your original question came in, is that we give $8,000 to a grassroots nonprofit, and we get to choose who that is.
Right.
And so my vision was, every month, we will be looking at a variety of different ones, and we're still looking. So if you are a grassroots and you relate to women and children, that is the criteria. We would like to take a look at you and feature you once a month.
Right.
We pick one.
Right.
And all the way through, we're going to go through, well, today's March, April. So we do April all the way through, it'll be through February.
February, right, because March 1st will start the new year.
Right. So, and so we invite you to come, and we give you dinner, and we give you the experience to share your message, and then we're going to bring you all back and line you up and have our community vote and see who should go on to, be a recipient to receive this $8,000.
That's right.
And
So what you do at the monthly meeting, if you're the nonprofit that's selected for that month, you get an exhibit table.
yes, you do.
And you also get a chance to speak a little bit about your business, kind of an enlarged elevator speech, if you will, and you get a chance to share that information with everyone there. And I just think it's a wonderful thing. I really do. One of the things that I want to say before we go any further is that we've been mentioning 10 months. This is less than a year. And one of the things that Sandra confirmed last night, which we know, was that we have the fastest rising star next to us of this generation anyway. Our Annie has put together this chapter faster than in the 15-year history of the organization.
It's the number of participants that you've put together in this short order, and the caliber and quality of your leadership team, I think, is what has really set you apart from your colleagues.
We have a phenomenal leadership team, and I want to share with your audience, both of these incredible women are on my left and right, and we are, it's not me, it's what you do. And it's all about we as a community coming together, and we can make great things happen. And that's
We can and we will.
I think so.
We will, absolutely.
and hopefully we'll be an inspiration to your audience that they'd like to learn a little bit more about us and what we do on a community level.
Right.
Exactly, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And towards the end of the show, too, we'll be giving you contact information, so don't worry about that. But as I always say, have your paper and your pen ready, because you never know what you're going to learn from us. So also last night, which I have to bring this up because I can't wait to tell my granddaughter, that Beyonce's father spoke to us through a phone last night.
Yeah,
Which
Matthew
was-
Knowles,
yes.
Beyonce's dad.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yes, and he's not just Beyonce's dad, okay? This was a man who was number 3 in Xerox, Xerox sales. We're talking about an African American here who worked his way up quickly, efficiently, effectively to become number 3. It's absolutely amazing. I know the Xerox Corporation because they were a client when I had an ad agency, and I knew then, how difficult it was for a woman, to make her way up, let alone someone who was of a different color and nationality. But times are changing.
Thank goodness.
And this is a man who admires our leader, Sandra Yancey, and you could tell by the way they were talking and by the way he just jumped right in to talk to us. She had the cell phone and
That was
the
amazing.
microphone, and it's like, wow, sitting there going, wow, that's amazing. And he was giving us some tips, and it was like we're all sitting there going, oh my God, that's cool.
Right.
And of course, all of this caused us to run longer last night, but we didn't care. We didn't
It
care.
did cause us to run a little longer.
It
But
did, but you know what? It was so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was floating, on air. Because of everything, because of meeting one another.
Right.
I met some more wonderful women. We had, how many guests did we have? 20?
We had 42, 43.
42, 43. And almost half of them decided, I want in on this organization.
did.
And you know what? The other ones will come along too.
They will.
The right ones will be.
Yes, the right
and
ones.
honestly, it's not for everyone.
It's not.
No, it's not.
No.
But we certainly will love to meet you and have you see what we're all about.
Right.
And, that's who there's always room for one more, as we say.
There's always.
It doesn't mean, even though our tables might be full, there's always room for one more. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it looks like it's time for a break. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes and make sure you get your pen and paper handy if you haven't already, okay? Because we're going to be giving you their contact information. We're going to be telling you more about this foundation and what it does. And although this year's opportunity to be leader, young leader selection is, that the time has closed for that. It doesn't mean that you can't start thinking about next year. The young women that you knew
Right.
that are in business, that are just sparkle, that are stars, that that they're going to be future leaders. Write it down, okay? And then you can let us know, because we'll put them on our list to contact for the next year. Time goes by fast, and if you don't write it down now, you're going to lose it. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
Hi, and we're back. This, of course, is From This Corner TV, and I'm Marilyn Dayton. And we've been talking with Anne Garland and Jeanne Boyer-Roy, and we've been talking about giving back, and we've been talking about supporting our emerging leaders, our stars of tomorrow, and we've been having a little fun talking about eWomenNetwork. And I know I've mentioned it to you before, but I'm a part of this network, and I have seen the quality of the women involved and some men, and just it's a powerful room full of energy. It's absolutely amazing. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that in the fact that both locally and I can't really say nationally, we have to say internationally, this organization, through their foundation, supports nonprofits and emerging leaders and more. So we're going to get a little bit more detail about this. So, shall I turn it over to you?
Well, I appreciate that. I think that, you know, at the local level, our support of our opportunity to give to the corporate foundation, our local chapter, and as we mentioned, it hasn't really been in existence for all that long, has raised nearly $5,000. And that money is going to be given to the corporate organization in support of a variety of opportunities to give back. And so one of the themes, if you will, of the foundation that separates it from others is that it takes teamwork to make the dream work.
That's true.
And Sandra said that yesterday, last evening, and that really stayed with me. I actually printed it this morning and put it right at, you know, so I can see it as I'm chatting with clients and as I'm, you know, thinking about how to synthesize the problems of the day. The opportunity to support the dreams of others is really what our organization is trying to do, and that's what we're trying to do in support of the corporate organization. So who is this 501c3? They have awarded thus far, since inception, 97 cash grants to local nonprofit organizations throughout North America that address the needs of women and families. Through the International FEMTOR Awards. You want to tell us, Annie, what FEMTOR means?
It means female mentoring. So we as females and just experienced businesswomen sort of lift as you climb, which is one of our, as I mentioned earlier, our principal tenets.
Right.
And we just want to help anyone who's in need, and we do that in a variety of ways. You know, whether they're young leaders or whether it's through our foundation.
Right.
I want to correct you, if I may. Was
Sure.
that you said 97? Was it 97 or 97,000?
97 cash grants.
No, 97 cash
Grants.
Okay.
That's not the money, that's the actual number of awards that the foundation has given because they the nonprofit applied to receive funding for a particular cause, and that's how many grants they have given. Okay?
See, that's why I have her, because
Yes, exactly.
I defer to my leadership team.
Which makes you a great leader.
Yes, it does.
It really does. You know, the other interesting thing about the FEMTOR Awards is that 140 scholarships have been given. 140 scholarships have been given to the many different FEMTOR awards that exist through the foundation. And the Emerging Leaders, which we've talked about, is our premier and signature award program for the Lift As You Climb example at a young level. So, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars have left through those 97 cash grants awards. Let me not lead you astray. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's impressive.
That's considerable.
I had, before Sandra left this morning after last night, she, you know, when I speak to her, and her why is giving back. When she was a young girl, she just wanted to, she knew, and that's how she was raised, in a very solid family. Wasn't without its difficulties, but she had a strong faith background, has a strong faith background, and she always believed in tithing. Even if they couldn't afford it, they found a way to tithe. And she made this a real strong point of who eWomen is. You know, it's one of those platforms that separates us from some others.
I noticed that everything she does, she says a portion of this, and to be exact, $100 out of this will be going to our foundation. You know, almost every time I hear of anything, remember, a portion of this goes to the foundation. So she takes everything and takes a portion of it. And, you know, that's, I mean, I was brought up the same way. My grandparents instilled in me, you know, you got to help each other. And it doesn't matter how many, and I didn't have much growing up. We were struggling like a lot of other people in post-war times. And, you know, it was just, don't think about yourself all the time.
Right.
You know, and when we're trying to survive, it's hard not to just think about yourself. There's always someone that has it harder, no matter who you are, what your circumstance is. And that not only should make us feel better, but it should also remind us that there's someone that needs our help, or someones that need our help.
Have you ever done anything where, and I'm big on this, I'll go through a toll booth and I'll pay for the person behind me just to give back, you know, and to me it makes me feel good, you know, or, you know, I'm in a coffee line and tea, well, I buy tea, but I do tea, and I'll say, I want to buy the tea for coffee for whoever's behind me, so I'll give them a $5 or whatever it is. Does that make you feel good?
Oh, good.
Just even on a small level.
It does.
You know, isn't that what we're all about, is giving back?
It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I invite your audience to just think about that in some way, to just, how can you make somebody happy just by giving just a little, you know? I know we're talking about monies and stuff like that, but
Yes,
it's just,
yes,
it's
but
even more than that.
Oh, absolutely. Giving back, you know, can take many forms. You know, when we work with board members in particular, and we are discussing and knowledge transferring what our observations might be, there has to be an appreciation for time, because that's a give back. If someone is supporting an organization because they're sharing their talent, they're giving of their time in order to work with an organization and to solve a problem, to advance the need, to extend the reach. And I just think that's something that people don't always appreciate. But isn't that philanthropy? I mean, that's what matters in the life of the nonprofit. And I was so impressed today when I was reviewing the website for eWomenNetwork, and because there's an opportunity to volunteer. So it isn't always just about the money. It's about the time. It's about the talent. And I was very impressed that she had the concept of be a volunteer. Be a volunteer in your chapter, be a volunteer at the conference, be a volunteer, you know, within our organization. They do a variety of different events around the country with women leaders, and
You're talking about the different chapters?
Yeah, and they do some educational sessions, and so you know you can volunteer your expertise to be a speaker, for example, for an organization. So you know that's an important element.
It is, and it goes beyond our local chapter too. When you're traveling with eWomenNetwork, you can attend another chapter, their meeting, their events, and if there's a way you can contribute while you're there, it will just happen. Because it does. And you know that impresses me greatly. I don't think you've got a chapter on a cruise boat, but oh well.
You want to go on a cruise?
Oh, I'm going on a cruise in a couple of weeks.
So one of the other things that we do is we have raffles, and we solicit those from outside sources or members if you're a guest and you want to be a part of that. And that's been really the foundation for our foundation, if you could
Right,
say.
right.
You know, it's really where we get the meat from. And it's a win-win for everybody. It's actually a three-way win, as I see, because you get exposure as a giver. You get exposure if you're a winner of the raffle. And we, as a chapter, are winners because we can give it to the foundation and then fulfill some of these great goals that we have. And I know you're interested in hearing a few other things that we're doing with our chapter.
Exactly, yes.
So we have something called Matchmaker of the Year. That's somebody who, that doesn't really involve any monetary, but it's somebody who is lifting as they climb or really connecting, like you're a connector. You could be nominated as Matchmaker of the Year. You know, Jeanne, you could be nominated as Matchmaker of the Year. Those people who go out of their way to contribute and connect people and lift as they climb. That's what that's about. So we're in the process of, that closes March 31st. We're looking for nominations for anyone in the chapter. I thought it was just limited to those that have reached a certain qualification, but I was clear, you know, I got clarity on that, that it's open to any member.
Wow.
So I did not know that.
Wow.
So being just 10 months into this chapter, I'm still learning as we're growing. We're all growing together.
Yes.
So, and it's a great journey, you know.
Right.
I don't have all the answers, and, you know, I defer to you because you have zeroed in on our giving back with our FEMTOR awards. And then we have Made It to $1 Million award, and this is given to a woman who has demonstrated. The whole concept is somebody who is more than 4 employees, who has made it to $1 million, who is really giving back to society through hiring employees, and they have to be 51% ownership of the company with more than 4 employees. And hopefully we'll have one of those in our chapter next year.
Yes.
That's right.
We have 2 actually that are pretty close. They just didn't have 4 employees. So God bless them, they're working really
They
hard.
must be.
Yes.
They have to be. They have to be.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's that one. And Jeanne, do you have another one, humanitarian?
Well, it's the humanitarian of the year, right? So when we originally started our conversation this evening, we talked about the Bully Suicide Project. And that was basically the theme that Sandra Yancey honed in on for her special opportunity for every chapter to stand behind. And our chapter, as I mentioned before, quickly satisfied the goals for that particular opportunity. And right now, they're collecting for the next Humanitarian of the Year. So the Bully Suicide Project, which was called HOPE, it's a movement and a training program. It's a holistic approach to solving the problem associated with youth being bullied in schools. And as we know, that is a hot topic these days,
Yes, it
right?
is.
And this Bully Suicide Project was created by Dr. Audrey Newsom, and she's actually created a system with various technology, as well as readings, as well as programs, as well as knowledge transfer seminars and sessions. So she's created basically a curriculum affiliated with how to prevent, deal with, and support someone and their family who might have experienced this negativity in their lives. And that's why she was called the Humanitarian of the Year Award.
Wow. I know that I'm very familiar with Lisa Sasevich, and she was our humanitarian awardee back in 2011.
Really?
Yeah. So, and
Yes,
she.
interesting. Yep.
So there's also the Corporate Champion of the Year, and that's where we recognize a Fortune 500 company who is committed to championing women in their workforce.
Right.
And actually, American Express Open is all about women, and they were a recipient in 2014. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So
So it sounds like she has Sandra has made sure that our foundation helps just about everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
And then it filters down from there. For instance, our Emerging Leader of the Year last year. Tell us a little bit about her. I want to hear about her.
Well, I've got a few notes in front of me, and she's a very lovely woman. Actually, they had 7 candidates, and they all came from all different, disciplines, and they could have all been winners. But Gabrielle was specifically, just incredible. Her name is Gabrielle McCormick. She graduated from college debt-free, and what was unique about her is she's created scholarships and opportunities for other people, students. She earned it all herself. She started her company called the Students Insider's Guide, and it teaches families from across the country how to pay for college. And as an emerging leader in education, Gabrielle hopes are to make college affordable for everyone that wishes to attend. So she put herself through college. Her family did not have the money to do it. And this young woman pulled up the bootstraps and figured out a way. And now she has created this program to teach others how to do that, which is amazing. So she's a tough act to follow this year, I got to tell you.
I'll tell you something. I know a lot of young people who graduate college and they are so in debt. And I'm talking about $30,000, $50,000. Can you imagine? You're just starting, maybe, if you're lucky, a new job, and you've already got this huge debt that you're carrying around with you. That weighs very heavily on a young person who wants to develop a career. They're already behind, so to speak.
Well, so maybe I should repeat her program again.
Yes, please do.
I don't have a website, but you can Google it.
Yes, exactly.
And it's called Student Insider's Guide.
Student Insider's Guide.
And her name is Gabrielle McCormick.
Right.
McCormick. So that's where your audience needs to have their pen and pencil, Gabrielle.
Right. And if they go to the eWomenNetwork Foundation, you will see her there, and I believe her email address is is hyperlink.
I just love our leaders.
Yes.
They know everything. Anyway.
Yes, they think of it all. One of the things that I noticed that Sandra said last night was, she says, I don't know it all. I'm not smart enough to do everything myself, and neither are we. Nobody is. What you do is you put together your A-team, and you surround yourself with the best people you can find to do those things you need done to get to where you want to go. And I've heard that before from successful people. I heard that from the jazz musician Chuck Mangione.
Tony Robbins.
And Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins always says, you can play tennis with somebody who's equal or less than you and shine, but what are you going to learn?
Yes.
Don't you always want to reach higher than where you are?
Oh, you're right.
I mean, that will bring you to the next level.
Without a doubt.
And you know
Stretch
something?
Yeah.
Chuck had that in mind because I was lucky enough to know him and work with him. And he said, Marilyn, my lip isn't always the way it should be. My lip slips a little bit sometimes. So what I've done is I've surrounded myself with the best musicians I can find, which indeed he did.
Wow.
And his music is beautiful, and that comes from inside him. But he has and he's still going strong, which is amazing.
Isn't he from upstate New York area?
He is. That's where I'm from.
That's where I'm from.
Yes.
Where are you from?
Rochester, New York.
Oh, I'm up near Schenectady, Saratoga area.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of where he came out of, I thought.
Well, he was born and bred in Rochester, New York.
Oh, okay.
I knew Mama and Papa.
Okay.
And
well,
Brother Gap.
Because I used to go to events, and he was there, like Saratoga Performing Arts Center.
Oh, yeah, he loved to play Saratoga.
Yeah.
And Rochester, he would say, I'll come back once a year. Okay.
When the snow melts.
Yeah, when the snow melts.
And we all can relate to that.
Yes,
these
we
days.
do. Oh, boy, do we ever, as it is right now. And another thing that I want to touch on briefly is the mentorship. That is, I was lucky enough to have mentors in my life at various times in my life. I would not be the person I am today. I would not have done what I have been able to do in my life without a mentor. And this organization, there are times when I go to myself, I wish I was younger, and I still learn something every day from someone. And this organization, these women, sometimes they just blow my mind. You know, it's
Well, we have a coaching program.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we have our Success Institute that you can have access to. And you have access to it even if you're not a member, but you would pay, I think it's $19.95 to have an hour, I think it's a teleseminar. And you can, experience some of the really high-level caliber women and men, a few good men that are available. Two from our chapter are in the Success Institute. Dr. Dorothy Martin Neville, Dreams Are Only the Beginning, or that was one of her programs. Maybe it's How Your Personality Affects Your Health. I can never remember which one it is. She has a couple. And then Debbie Silver, who is our Mojo coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was
and
at our table last night.
Yeah.
She was.
She's a hoot.
She was
is
great.
a hoot.
I was so
Just amazing.
So
I knew
much
who
fun
she
to get
was
to know
from
her.
the back just by the outfit.
Yeah,
And she could wear them.
Yeah.
Well, she's all about health and nutrition.
Oh,
and
she is.
And she is a vision of health and nutrition.
Right.
And she's a
is.
Spitfire.
Oh, God, she's a
Yes.
Spitfire.
So, yeah.
She's amazing.
So we have
Amazing.
that, and then we also have our radio show where you can, you could be locked in your house forever and never have to come out because you could just learn and learn and learn.
Yes.
And you just tap into the radio show. That's free
I
to
know,
anyone.
yeah.
Just amazing. We have 15 hosts, and there's 24/7. You can just listen. If you have insomnia. I have insomnia. I just don't have time to, I go and work.
Well, I am slowly working my way through, and I'll tell you something. Every one of them is top-notch. Just top-notch.
Which
And
ones of that?
All of them.
Oh, on the radio
all
shows?
of the radio show, the free seminars that you go and
coaches,
listen
yeah.
to. I just,
How
and
about Sip Tip and Talk? Isn't
I
that
heard that for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
I was so blown away. I was, because all this time that I belong, I've always put it on my calendar, but I never seem to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And because we were going to have dinner with her the other evening, I said, I have to understand this woman before it's just how I have to do it.
Yes.
So I found the time, and
You go back and listen.
and I went back and listened. And here's the other part of it. Usually, I'm one of the first ones, I think, to log off. I'm like, oh, I've had enough. I'm leaving. I didn't leave this one. I stayed to the bitter end to hear everything she had to say.
So her whole concept is, we're just going to have a girl chat, just like we're doing here now.
Yes.
Just imagine two big chairs,
That's what she
comfy,
says.
and it's by a fireside, and then we're sipping your favorite libation, whether it's tea or whatever it is. And so she will give some strategies and business nuggets, and I think it's open to
It's members.
members
It's
only.
members
Okay, that
only.
one is members.
Yeah.
I should know that. Thank you for qualifying that. So, but it's like you're having this fireside chat with her, and then we can submit a question,
Right.
and she will answer. And how you answer is you tell what you're drinking, like mocha double, or chata latte or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, and then she'll answer your question. It's like laser coaching. And she's so giving. She is the epitome of femtoring, female mentoring. I mean, and that's what she thrives on that.
That's
and she's
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, now you know a lot about eWomenNetwork, and you need to learn more. You need to go to their website. You need to contact Annie and find out more. Find out when is your next get-together, because I want to learn more. Just step forward, because I'll guarantee you, you will love it. I mean, yes, it's not for everybody. So look at yourself and say, hey, am I ready to take the next step forward, to go to the next level up and talk to women like that.
Can I offer? Do we have time to say one more thing?
Got it, one more thing.
One more thing. Well, even if you can't, if you're housebound and you have some disability, we have access to so many things outside of just being local, which is what makes us very unique.
Absolutely.
So I want to throw that in there.
Thank you.
That's very,
Thank
it's a
you
great
for
thought.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
And thank you both for being with us
that's
today.
my
It's just
pleasure.
been wonderful.
My pleasure.
I told you it'd be fun.
You weren't kidding.
we're still floating on last night, though. In the
I
last
know,
think
we
so.
are.
I
We
think
definitely
so.
are.
Yeah.
And I
We're
want to
very
make,
blessed.
I want to make a couple of announcements, and these are both very important. Last time I talked about April being Autism Awareness Month, and the people that you know that are involved in this organization will send you an email and say, light it up blue. Read that email, okay? Because it could be something simple as putting a blue light bulb on your front porch. What that means is you're drawing awareness to the need for autism research and a potential cure. Because, well, you know, they've been on my show before, and you know that autism is increasing, and it's a little bit scary, and we don't know why. So we need to find out why. Okay, so April, the whole month of April, is Autism Awareness Month. And then, as you well know, around the holidays, around Thanksgiving, we had some military veterans here talking. And I know that show has been repeated quite often here at Comcast. And as a matter of fact, it was on recently, and I got an email. Someone that saw it said, I have something that can help veterans. Who do I contact? So I put them in contact with someone. And one of the things that, if you want to support our troops and our veterans, you need to say no to the proposed cuts that Governor Malloy is talking about in the budget. The military department would scale back honors at veterans' funerals. We're talking about the giving of the flag. We're talking about the traditional gun salute. And these are things that are extremely, extremely important. So on Wednesday, April 15th, from noon to 12:30 at the Connecticut State Capitol in Hartford, you can go and say it in person. If not, contact your local state legislator. Let them know you want to say no, and you want them to say no, okay? So that's really important. So now, as we end every show, I'd like to do a quote that kind of sums up kind of the feeling and the conversation that we've been having. The best one that I can find, of course, was with Maya Angelou. She said, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People may forgive what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And how you make people feel when you're giving back, when you're paying it forward, when you're supporting a young person in their development, that will be remembered, never forgotten, okay? So thank you for joining us today. And remember, if you've got some ideas, send me an email right there. Go to our website and click on any of the shows and see the shows that you've missed. All of them have a message. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.